Hey there everyone, it's your friendly neighbourhood Pyro BonOakley here, and welcome back to the Are They Viable series. Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? In this series I go through a specific area of a class's weapon pool, such as primaries, secondaries and melees, to see what is the most viable in the game known as Team Fortress 2. And today is the update video for the Pyro trilogy I originally made near the beginning of my TF2 YouTube career thing. In them, I had laid out all of the Pyro's arsenal on a list of what I considered to be the most viable weapons, but since the Jungle Inferno update gave the Pyro class 4 new weapons, I think I need to add them into it, don't you? So, let's begin with... We'll start off with the primary weapons again, with the newest addition, the Dragon's Fury. The Dragon's Fury is a sort of fireball cannon that shoots close-range balls of fire at your enemies. The stats for it go like this: extinguishing teammates restores 20 health, it deals 300% plus damage to enemies who are already on fire, and on hit with a fireball, the repressurization rate is increased by 50%, which affects how often you can air blast. However, when you alt fire in order to air blast, the repressurization rate is decreased by 50%. In my opinion, this is a very solid side grade. Instead of being a normal flamethrower which needs you to hold down the mouse button to do well, the Dragon's Fury requires the player to actually concentrate and aim with the fireballs in order to do well with it, and it rewards said player with more damage and faster air blasting, and damages their flow if they miss with slower firing speeds. This in all honesty is a very good side grade and doesn't overshadow the original flamethrower at all with any overpowered stat, even in its buggy state. Next is the first new secondary weapon, the Gas Passer. This weapon is a throwable canister of gasoline that takes about 60 seconds to charge up, but can be charged faster if you damage enemies. When hit with the canister, the enemy is soaked in the gas, and any damage that they take while soaked will automatically set them on fire for 10 seconds, like how the afterburn mechanic used to work before the changes. And unlike any other throwable, the gas lingers around for a while and will soak players who walk into the lingering gas. This weapon is quite underwhelming, to be honest. It can be useful to throw at a choke point, forcing enemies to choose to either wait for it to go away, or dangerously run through it to attack, but it's sort of pointless. It can already be surpassed with a normal flamethrower or even a Dragon's Fury. I think I said in an older video, and I remember Uncle Dane also saying it too, but if it were to make the enemy in a wet state like the Hydrocity and Mad Milk, allowing it to be comboed with the Neon Annihilator, it'd make a great set similar to the Hydrocity and Bushwhacker, but as it stands now it's pretty mediocre. The next new secondary weapon the Pyro received is the Thermal Thruster, a jetpack that allows the Pyro to fly through the sky. It holds 2 charges and launches the Pyro into the direction they are looking at. One charge takes 15 seconds to recharge, taking 30 seconds for both to recharge. It also pushes enemies back when landing, which depends on the force and radius, which is based on velocity. It also deals falling damage, similar to the Man Treads, if landing on top of an enemy. The thruster is also locked to the 1.1 second holster duration, which isn't sped up even with weapons like the Degreaser with its fastest weapon switch speed. And finally, the Pyro takes less fall damage with this equipped and an additional 30% knockback from all damage sources. It also comes with a new taunt kill, which is interesting. The Thermal Thruster is a great mobility tool and allows the Pyro to have much more freedom in where they go, like the Soldier and Demo Man. The knockback is quite useful for pushing enemies off an objective. The damage you do to an enemy by landing on top of them is cool, but it's quite difficult to pull off, seeing as how you don't have as much freedom in the air as you do with the Man Treads. The one major drawback I see with this is the holstered time. It could be sped up just a fraction, but I can see why it has this included, seeing as how it makes the Pyro a threat, even in the sky now. And finally, with the last new weapon, we have the melee weapon, the Hot Hand. When you hit an enemy, you gain a small speed boost at the cost of having a 20% damage penalty, which is more like 15% seeing as how the stats are wrong. That's because the weapon has 2 swings, each doing 28 damage for a total of 56. Now, as an actual weapon, this sucks so much balls. I get that you want to make a haha funny weapon, but this is just bad in terms of viability. It's probably worse than a sharpened volcano fragment. Yeah, I said it. So overall, as a funny weapon, yeah, it's alright, but as a viable tool to use in battle, it's not so good. Oh shit, you know what that means? No? Well, it's time for older weapons update. That's right, 2 other weapons got changed, the Reserve Shooter and Panic Attack, and since they were changed, it's time to see how they stack up now. The reserve shooter got its mini crits on air blasted targets removed and changed to thruster jumping pyros. In terms of viability, it's gone ridiculously bad for pyros now. Not to say that's a bad thing, it was overpowered as all hell before, so the removal of this makes it fairer for everyone, but that still doesn't change the fact that it makes its viability for pyro drop a ton. The panic attack was changed dramatically in the Jungle Inferno update. It now has 50% more bullets per shot you take and deploys 50% faster as well. Instead of a spread shot like other shotguns, it fires in a fixed shot. The downsides, however, make it do 30% less damage, and each successive shot makes the weapon less accurate. I suppose this is fine for other classes, especially Engineer, since he uses shotguns for his primary. However, for Pyros this might still be okay. I hardly ever use it myself, but in a tight spot it could be good to finish off enemies or shoot them quickly with the help of the faster deployment. So now that we've gone through the changes, let's place them in the list based on the viability, starting with primaries. This is how the list was before, and so I believe the Dragon's Fury places at a tight second alongside the stock is a strong alternative and is just a great weapon to use in general if you're able to hit consecutive shots. Next is the secondary weapons list, and well, that is certainly about to change. First, I'll place the thermal thruster between the flare gun and detonator, as it's a great mobility tool, but is brought down due to it not being able to damage enemies easily. The gas passer will be placed just above the panic attack. It's just too mediocre to be placed any higher. Not saying it has no uses, but they aren't much more useful compared to the weapons above it. Speaking of panic attack, we'll leave it where it is and place the reserve shooter below it. Yep, I believe the usefulness of the reserve shooter has fallen that much. Now finally the melees, this will be super easy to change. Boom, last place for the hot hand. Viability is not what you use this for. And that wraps it up for this update of the pyro weapons. If you remember, all that time ago the poll that I set up ended, and the spy won. So when I get around to making more videos for this series, the spy primary weapons will be next. So thanks for watching guys, like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed, and as always, this has been your friendly neighborhood pyro BonOakley, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.